one man I've wanted to have on this show for a long time that I finally accosted. I went out and grabbed him. Is Mustafa Ali. How are you, my man?
Accosted. What a word for the day. I want everyone to memorize this word, add it to your daily vocabulary. Accosted.
Yeah.
How are you, man? Thanks for having me.
I went out and seized it, Ali. That's
Seized
what it is.
There you go seize you and Ali. Fantastic.
Delighted to finally have you here, man, because I've been such a
pleasure.
fan of your journey in WWE, and I can't wait to get into a bit of that with you. But what I want to start with is current events, right? Because I spoke to Mansoor a few weeks ago.
Oh,
and he can talk. He can talk, Ali. I'll tell you this.
The kid can talk. I've watched Mansoor for a very, very long time. I'm fully aware of his mic skills.
Yeah, he was a great interview, and he had a lot to say about you. And obviously, this is at the point where you two are kind of like circling each other. The possibilities were.
What did he say about me? All good things, right?
Very kind to me.
Okay.
But I think he was hoping for that mentorship, and it looks like that's kind of what we're getting. I'm really enjoying the dynamic between you two on Raw at the moment. You two look like maybe you're going to be whoever wins the Raw Tag Titles at SummerSlam. Mansoor and Ali could be in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, maybe future. That's the key word I was looking for. Yeah, I mean, right now we're at a phase right now where my intentions are clear. I'm just trying to help the kid out. What I've done is taken our real life background relationship and I put it on screen. Because Mansoor does remind me a lot about myself, and I'm not talking just from a physical or cultural background. He's this really high energy, bright-eyed kid that's just happy to be here. And I look at and I make the joke. I was like, oh, that's the 2016 version of me. And what I really don't want him to do is to fall into the same traps and run into the same disappointments that I did, because that naive, everything is great mentality will only get you so far in such a competitive world. You have to be able to cut corners. You have to be able to take advantage of me, because that's what happened to me. And it sounds dark and gloomy, but it's not. This is the positive spin. I'm a saint. I am a good man, and I'm doing a good thing. People might not like how I talk to him, but tough love. And I think Mansoor is learning.
Have you been pleased with the results thus far? Because I think it's been really entertaining.
I'm pleased, and it's kind of like a two-sided coin for me, right? I'm very, very pleased because, again, it's a very real life scenario. I'm taking our backstage relationship, our actual interaction, I'm putting it on screen, and I feel like I'm kind of like pulling the strings of the story as far as like how making this real. And the other aspect of it, I love that our story has nothing to do with our names, our backgrounds, our religious association, none of that, because for forever, someone like me, someone like Mansoor, that's what defined us. That was our role, where we're from. Right now, if you go online and you search Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, everyone's conversation is just, they're going to be best friends. They're going to be a tag team. Tony Stark and Peter Parker relationship. Like they're just comparing us. And I love that, because no one is talking about the fact of our religious backgrounds or where we're from. And like, that's such a huge relief for me, because again, my entire career has been defined by that. People, well, he's from here, so he should be portrayed like this. Or should we not do this because he's from here? Or his name's hard to pronounce, etc., etc. To me, it's such a relief that it's such a basic formula story, but you've never seen someone like me or Mansoor in that story ever. So for me, it's just one more step in normalizing Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. These foreign names, we're just normalizing it for the entire universe. And I think there's beauty in that.
I think exactly what you say. It's indicative that it's a good story, that's what people are talking about, the story. And obviously the characters within that. And talking about that, you were coming out of Retribution, which we'll get onto in a second. And of course, you're probably looking for a story. You strike me as a creative man that has ideas.
Thank you.
I don't want to say, run me through everything, but the process of getting from Retribution to where you are now, difficult process? Was it a long one?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have to be able to look at the writing on the wall sometimes. When I got the heads up that, retribution was portrayed the way it was portrayed, the losses happened, me yelling was for a reason, because I could tell that this is no longer a project. It's no longer something that's going to be a priority. So I'm already thinking what's next while giving my all to what I have right now. So it wasn't an attempt to abandon ship. I'm still trying to save this ship, but at some point when there's a deadline and this is when we're going to do it. And once that ship kind of sailed, I'm trying to figure out where I land in the landscape of things. Who's going after what championship, who's being paired off, and it comes to the point where you're not on, and then you're not on again, and you're not. All the while trying to figure it out. I had the main event series with Ricochet that got like great reviews. We had this big 2 out of 3 falls match. But again, it never translated to, okay, let's take this off main event and put it on Monday Night Raw. Like that was my goal. Like this feud's hot. The action's great. Let's get a pay-per-view. Like, so again, it's constantly, and then it was literally, like I said, a real life relationship where I think Mansoor was doing something young and dumb, and I had to correct him about something, and I yelled at him about something, and he's like, "Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for always looking out for me," or something like that. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want you to do what I did," or something like that. And I go, "Oh, that's it. That's the story," And I just remember kind of composing my thoughts and knocking on Vince McMahon's door. Had a pleasant conversation with him and pitched the layout of what I thought was real life, how to bring to screen. And I gave him the bullet points of the story, and he added his take on it. And next week we're off to the races. So I always you have to learn to not take it personal when you're not on. It's not that's not always the talent. It's not that you're not talented. It's just that you don't fit into the equation at the moment. And sometimes, like most of my career, it's on me to figure out how to factor in. And I'm happy with the results so far.
Yeah, because there's been a few that I've kind of got interested about, been excited about, and then it's like, oh, like I remember them vignettes where you're like on the streets and you're kind of like, a hero, and it was kind of it was kind of cool. I was thinking, oh wow, I wonder where this is going.
The original concept was cool, and again, it became a process where you kind of throw out buzzwords, and then WWE creative grabs it, or Vince grabs it, and they try to make it their own and then give it back to you. So the superhero oat stuff was very me trying to do something that I thought WWE would like. If you look at the work prior to that, and the topics I was talking about, those street style vignettes, that was all me. That was me just, hey, this is raw me talking. This is the way I would talk. This is what my aspirations are. These are the battles that I have without feuding with anybody. Like this is just me talking. And I thought those were great. The kind of like superhero vigilante guy walk around was me trying to visualize a pitch that was given to me, and obviously we didn't gain much traction with as far as turning it into a character on TV. But again, man, like you have to try. I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks, because at the end of the day, one thing that you can't say about me is that like you said, I strike you as a creative individual.
You do.
So I've always prided myself on that. Like I'll figure it out, and I'm not afraid to try something. I'm not afraid to try something. I'm sorry. English is my second language. Leave me alone.
Better than me. I have to say that there was another hiatus in there, like a 7-month one, I believe, from TV, where a lot of people were like, "Where is Ali?" And then you came back and you were getting involved in stuff with like the Hurt Business and all of that good stuff. But then, of course, Retribution happens. So during that 7 months, what's the deal? Are you hurt anytime? Or are you completely fine? Were you pitching other things?
Yeah. So that's I probably can't get into that too much, but there was something that was presented to me that I'm very against.
Okay.
I'm very against being portrayed a certain way with my name and my background, and I was against it. And at the time, creatively, I was kind of like not doing much. I think occasionally I would tag with Shorty G, Chad Gable. Obviously, I'm glad we don't call him Shorty G now. But at the time, Shorty G, So it was just, it was in that process, and it came to the point where, you know, then I started doing dark matches before SmackDown, and eventually was to stop being brought to TV because I think they themselves didn't know. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people in the creative process, as well as Vince McMahon himself. Is they know I'm talented. They know what I bring to the table is just trying to figure out the best way to market and present me. And I get that that can be a process, but sometimes when you feel like you're not a priority, that process, that time that needs to be put into it just keeps getting pushed to the side. And that's what happens when you get pushed to the side. You know, you're off TV for 7 months. You know,
Yeah.
so in that meantime, yeah, you know, it was later revealed in Retribution that a few months later, this mysterious hacker had appeared on SmackDown, and that
Yes.
again was another creative concept of mine. And the idea with it was the hacker would become very instrumental in the show in developing. So the way I presented, I said, you know how we use Miz TV to launch feuds sometimes? Miz is simply the host, but we use him as a vehicle to bring out one superstar and another superstar, and then there's a verbal exchange, and then we can go off to where I go. The hacker is much like that, where I don't need matches. I don't even need to be in the ring. I just need to be able to expose one person's secret or use information. And the concept was wildly received. And again, it was with that process of like, you're not there, you're not a priority at the moment, and then it slowly goes away. So while I was away for those 7-8 months, I wasn't just like, you know, sitting on my butt, so to speak. I was, and all of those hacker style vignettes that you saw, like those were self-produced. That was me making them
Wow.
at home, sending them in. Because again, I wasn't there. So it wasn't like I can go, hey, boss, can we do this? There was, you know, there's a barrier because I'm not physically there.
Sure.
So it was all just me sending stuff in, hoping something would stick. And unfortunately, we didn't go that route. But here we are today, talking to you. So it's gonna work out. But to answer your question, yes, even though I was home for those 7-8 months, I wasn't just waiting for them to call. I was
Yeah.
definitely pitching. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing, because they ended up sort of saying, is this how it worked out? They were like, well, why don't we make the hacker? And Retribution won, or was that you?
No, it wasn't. It was the hacker just kind of faded away. And again, not to get into too many specific things, but you know, there's pitches going across all brands, Raw, SmackDown, NXT at the time as well, as far as where I could go. And the decision was to bring me back to Raw, and it was, you know, a last minute call. I'm flying in the day of. To have a match with the Hurt Business, I believe, and you know, even a victory. And I'm still hoping in the background that okay, maybe the plan is to get me back on TV so we get some of the traction that people think that I'm the hacker away. And again, it just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and then they let it go. I kind of begged and pleaded, can Retribution, the original idea, once I found out that, because I didn't know I was joining Retribution either, it was kind of sprung on to me a few moments before we were doing it. My pitch then was, can we have Retribution have that as that's why we're powerful. That's why Retribution was able to break into the building. That's why Retribution knew where the production truck wires were that would lead this. I go, we have, and now Retribution's angle, their power, other than having these giant brutes behind us and Slapjack and Reckoning, the power that comes with it is that we know all of your dirty secrets. Everyone from the top to the bottom. It's on this USB drive, or it's on this stuff, something physical. And I thought that would give the group this edge where, like, we don't have to, one, we can come down the ring and pummel you. But two, I don't even have to do that. I had to send out this one tweet and I can ruin your life because I have this photo. And I thought that was, and you know, again,
that's real life.
That's a real life. And I remember, you know, telling that to the powers that be. I was like, that's what trends, you know, controversy, this, that. And all that work turned into just a one line in a promo where I admit that I'm the hacker, and we ended up not going that route. But again, it's I can't tell you why we didn't do it because I don't know. All I can tell you is that I tried to pitch that, and ultimately that didn't happen. But you know, I think all the guys and gals in Retribution are super talented. They're going to figure out who they are and what they can bring to the table. It's inevitable because talent always rises. And at the end of the day, that experience taught me a lot because I was the quarterback. You know, I'm in charge of 4 or 5 people in these multi-man matches, multiple segments, promos. Like as questionable as some of the decisions were made, and as hard as it was, it did teach me how to like really adapt on the fly and kind of be a leader. So I'm still thankful for that role at the end of the day.
Final one for me, and I know, I mean, I'm going to touch on a match of yours that I just want your insight from, and I could do this all day. I mean, I was at WrestleMania 34 and I saw you kill it with Murphy. You know, I loved your 205 run, even like Team Hogan and Team Flair. That's something I'd like to get your thoughts on. But I'm going to go for the ladder match where Brock comes out at the end, Money in the Bank. Because your face is just excellent. Like, talk to me about day of, you know, like what you're hearing, or week of even, what you're hearing, and then day of, Brock Lesnar's in town.
Week of, nothing other than you're in the match. Day of, I'm winning it. You know, man, this is my moment. This is everything I've been working for. I can't believe it. This is awesome. And then I'm the match is about to start. The entrance will start, and I may be wrong about this, but maybe Baron Corbin's making his entrance, and I'm soon to be making my entrance, and then that's when I'm go see the boss real quick. You want? This is what I want. Grab the briefcase, shock, and you're frozen. This is what I want. And you have to realize right before you go out to the curtain is not the time to kind of argue and
sure.
You know, you're getting a direct order about what is to be expected of you. And I know some people say like, well, why didn't you just grab the briefcase? I said, well, I was more concerned with grabbing my check that week, you know? So I grabbed my check that week. At the end of the day, it's not my show. The guy who owns this, who writes this show, who decides what's going to happen, told me specific instructions. And I said, okay, not a problem, boss. And I went out there and did exactly what I was asked to do. I grabbed the briefcase. I was very shocked.
Yeah.
I was frozen, you could say.
You were.
And Brock came on and did his thing. And at the end of the day, hey man, like it worked, right? Like people are still talking about that moment years later, you know? And then, hey, everyone's all sad about it. Guys, we got Brock listening to the briefcase like it's a boombox dancing. I gave you that. I gave you that gift. So, hey, Brock, shout out to you. I should get royalties off that shirt because he had the boombox shirt. So technically, Mustafa Ali is the guy that gave you that amazing gift.
Mustafa
Ali,
you're
welcome. You're
gave
welcome.
the rub to Brock Lesnar. You heard. You heard me.
Yeah. You heard him. He said it, not me.
Yeah. Sorry, Brock. Jesus.
So I mean, that's the story, man. Like that's how it went down.